To give you an idea, services like, oh, wait! I'm trying because I didn't study my part.
All right, take 16. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Mini Shiitake. My name is Flo. I am from Vancouver, Canada. And today, as always, it's been a long time. I am joined by our favorite Jay from Japan. Hello.
Hello, Flo! How's it going in there?
It's so hot, like you have no idea. We are in the right dead in the middle of a heat wave, but yeah, it's hot. It's hot. How about you?
So, well, here in Hokkaido, it's actually a bit colder, about 24, but it feels like 30 for a lot of the locals here.
Right.
But for a Filipino like me, it's totally fine.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I just want to tell you that I have finally moved to a new place in Hokkaido.
You have finally moved to a new place. You were in Sapporo for quite a while.
Yes, I stayed there for 2 years.
How was the moving stuff? How was the moving experience? How was what happened? Let us know.
Okay, I would tell you that my moving in Sapporo was quite an experience. There was a lot of difficulties, a lot of documents to finish, but overall, it's worth it. Very worth it.
That's a pretty great segue because today's episode is about
Relocating in Japan.
Let's go. We're so good at it. So we're becoming pretty good at it. So we're looking at it from the perspective of you've been living in Japan for a while and you're just moving cities. What is the process, especially as a foreigner? That must be quite a challenge with everything we've talked about in many episodes before.
It is.
In terms of, culture, language barrier, and all those things. And the whole moving and having all your stuff go from one place to the new place, that must be quite the experience. So let's talk about it.
So first, let's talk about some facts about relocating around Japan. The first one is it's quite expensive to move, actually. So why did I say it's expensive? Number one is that, oh my goodness, like moving services are a bit pricey, in my opinion. Okay. Probably because I lived in the Philippines and the moving rates are very different compared with Japan. To give you an idea, services like Yamato transport costs from 10,000 yen to 50,000 yen.
Okay, so what does that include though?
That would include services of staffs helping you put the stuff in the boxes, and then probably packing your furniture, so like covering them in plastic or in cardboards or stuff to protect your stuff, transferring them in the truck, and then taking them from your original place to your next apartment or to your new place.
Right. If I were to move to to be living in Japan like you are, and I would need to move apartments, I feel it would be a little bit more difficult, right? Because you don't know as many people, you don't speak the language as well, so you kind of have to use those services, right?
That's gonna be our number 2 of the facts about moving around in Japan, which is language barriers can become a factor. So, like if you can speak in Japanese, that would definitely be okay. The problem though is that most documents that you have to complete are not in English. Even though you're a foreigner, like most foreign languages are not available for you to complete. Like everything is in Japanese, sadly. And the last part of it is moving can be a bit stressful in terms of, like you're so used to staying in your current place, but suddenly you have to move for some reasons. It could be you've met somebody in your life and you want to move in together. It could be a job change or something similar.
If you consider what we've been talking about on the channel since we started, living in Japan as a foreigner, basically what happens when you move is everything we talked about, as a foreigner moving to Japan, you have to go through it again at a new place.
Right. That's very true. Okay, now that we talked about some facts about relocating around Japan, let's talk about the stages of relocating. And what I meant is that what are the processes that we can do to be able to move more accurately and more conveniently around Japan? For example, the first place that I lived in was a town called Hyogoku in Hokkaido, until I met somebody in my life who I realized that I want to move with. I realized that I want to move in with. It's a hard decision for me because, like, you're so used to these things already. You have already settled your mind and everything. You've met friends. You're so comfortable with the place. And then suddenly, bam, you need to move.
Like, speaking for myself here in Canada, like if I move to a new apartment next week, like it won't make a big difference for me, right? Because I'll most likely be in the same city, and even if I'm not in the same city, I'll still be in Canada, and it's pretty much the same everywhere you go in Canada. So I speak English pretty well, I guess. You could say. Like, people can tell me in the comments how I suck, but I can only imagine in a country like Japan, or a country that is like so different from what you used to begin with.
Now let's move on to stage 2, which is the moving process. Yes, we're not yet on the moving process. We're now going to the moving process. Now, what I wanted to say about this stage is that it's just a lot of documents. What I meant is that after deciding to move to the place you wanted to go, the next step is for you to find a place. And in fact, the good thing about Japan is that there are websites that help you find apartments. One of them is called Sumo. You're just going to click on the buttons that you decide, and then from there you can find a lot of options of apartments. And when you click on the apartment, there will also have the details of the space, of how much it costs. In fact, this is one of the most popular websites for finding apartments and even looking for reform or renovation services.
Right.
Choosing an apartment takes a lot of time before even getting the apartment that you want, because it's not just you who's looking for an apartment. There are like thousands of people. Oh, for your information, you don't just move anytime you want. There is actually a specific season when people start moving around. But in Japan, if they're going to ask you to relocate, it's usually on springtime. And that means that's going to be a lot of competition in looking for a new apartment, going in lines for the documents that you have to complete. That means like months ahead, you need to start preparing.
Right.
After that, you're moving on to completing the closure of your documents in the current area you are in. That means you're going to have to apply for relocating at your town office or city hall. After that, after filling up the documents from the town or city hall, you're going to have to talk with your landlord, and then that will be the start of him or her, the landlord, giving you a specific date of the inspection of your apartment. And then after cleaning your entire apartment, along comes the inspection day. Now, the good news is if the inspection was clear, meaning if everything is clean, if everything is there, if there are no damages, then you don't have to pay anything. After that, you're gonna have to close the utilities, meaning the electricity and the water pipes and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, I hate that part, actually. I hate that part because the landlord, or, depending on the apartment that you have, they're gonna give you a paper how to turn off all the utilities and the pipes Can you imagine the ones in action movies? Which one should I cut? The red one? The red wire of the blue wire? It felt like that. My goodness. The next one is calling your utility companies. And that means you're gonna have to call in Japanese. And you're gonna inform them, oh, Mr. Utility Company, I have decided to move, so I'm requesting for the electricity or water to be done by this date. And the gas, the heater, I meant. You're gonna have to call the representative of the gas company because they are the ones who's gonna turn off the gas utility and not you.
Right, yeah, obviously, because they don't want you to blow up the place.
All right, now it's time to move. I gotta have this stopped now. I don't need to use this anymore. I'm gonna have to turn it off. Yeah, it's turned off. And I'll probably gonna switch that off, I guess. I don't need any help. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it off myself. どうしようかな。
おう、ジェニファーどうした？何をしているの？
いや、今ヒーターを止めるよ。ちょっと待って。自分でできるよ。いいよ。どうしようかなって。
ジェニファーダメよ。危ないって。
大丈夫。もう少しだね。あれ、何これ？All right, so after finishing all the documents, choosing your apartment, closing all the utilities, and asking for the gas boy to turn off your gas utility, then we are starting to move.
Finally.
You have to remember, you need to know the space of your new apartment compared with your current apartment. You're gonna have to give up a lot of your stuff, right? Especially the things that you have gotten used to for years. I experienced that, and I remember I had like several pairs of shoes that I need to get rid of, and a lot of clothes that I need to just take out.
I find it funny. I find it funny that you're in the process of moving, right? And you have to take care of all that stuff. You have to take care of all the paperwork, all the and when you're thinking about what is going to fit in my new apartment, your first thought is, I can't bring all my shoes. That's the first thing you think about. It's oh no, all my shoes, what am I going to do? A lot of people will be like, oh shit, no, my table's too big. My
sofa's too big, I have to get a smaller one. Oh no, like, this carpet is not going to fit. Or this is not going to...
It's like, my shoes!
Yeah. Ladies, if you live in Japan and you love shoes, you're gonna have to sacrifice at least 10 of your pairs.
10 of your pairs! I have 2!
I got 12.
Holy Shiitake! That's
not a lot! 12 pairs are not a lot!
That's a lot to me. Anyway.
Not a lot for a typical lady. All right, so how do you get rid of them? There are actually recycle shops around where you can sell your stuff. There are ways where you can get rid of those stuff, such as thrift stores and even Facebook groups. But then again, while you are finishing your documents, I recommend that you also start selling your stuff. Now, after selling all your stuff and probably buying additional items that you have to put on your new apartment, next is the packing. It's like, oh my goodness, that's one of the most stressful stuff that I did. Of course, if you hired a service for that, that wouldn't be a problem. But if you are on a budget, you have to consider the size of the car or the van that you're going to use. On my part, I remember my fiance helped me out. We both rented a huge van. Yeah, I remember when I moved from Kyogoku to Sapporo, I didn't have a lot of money at that time. So I kept my fridge, I kept my huge table, I kept my washing machine. And because I got tiny arms, my fiance did all those carrying, and oh my goodness, I felt sorry for him. Now, once you arrive at your new location, first you're gonna have to secure all your keys. You have to, you're gonna have to check your new apartment if there are any damages. You're gonna have to plan where you're gonna put all your stuff. So can you imagine all the unpacking again, putting everything out of the box, putting everything out of the plastic, the newspapers, and all those wrapping procedures you did. When I moved from Sapporo to where I am now, I sold all my furniture. The only furniture that I kept was this sofa because I really like this one.
Yeah.
I think stage 3 is the simplest one because, you've finally arrived to your new location, and then what you're going to do next is to reorganize your stuff. But it's not as simple as how it sounds.
Right.
In fact, when I reorganized my stuff, it took me about 3 months to organize everything. I was lucky because it was springtime and I was on spring vacation, but my fiance didn't have any spring vacation at all. He still had to work the next day. Can you imagine that? So it was just me left in the house. And all I did day and night during that time was to just reorganize everything. I'm a very organized person and I love to make everything clean, matched, and look pretty and decorative. And finally, we move on to the last stage, which is getting to know your new environment. Then you're gonna have to call again the utilities, the electricity, the gas, the water. It's like resetting, you know what I mean?
Right.
The most annoying part was the internet, which is like surprising for me. And then suddenly, the apartment owner said, "Oh, you're gonna have free internet in sometime around May or June."
Oh,
and we were shocked because we already called an internet service provider.
Right.
That we had to cancel it and pay a fee of $300.
I feel like, so we're talking about basically getting to get used to your new environment, right? Get used to your new place.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, to me, that's kind of like the fun part of moving.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, especially for someone like you, right? Kind of like going on adventures. I mean, you move from a country to another one. That's a pretty big adventure. You like finding new things and discovering new things.
And if you had a bad reputation in your older area, you can always start anew.
That's right. Yeah, nobody knows you anymore over there, so you're fine.
Before we end, don't forget that once you move, make sure you know the places, the nearest hospitals, the nearest clinics, the nearest police stations, the nearest train stations, and all the important places that you need to go to in case. Okay, and that's all for today's topic. I hope you learned a lot of stuff. It may be quite long and a little bit too detailed, but if you have any questions, please put them all below in the comment section.
Thank you for watching. Don't hesitate to like this video if you enjoyed it. If you did not enjoy it, you can also give us a thumbs down if you want. That's okay. We'll know to do better next time if you do that. Subscribe for more videos like this. Don't forget to ring the bell. All those YouTube things that people do nowadays. I think that's how it works, right, on YouTube. And follow us on social media everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Links in the description below, maybe popping on screen if I can remember to edit it in. Thank you, Jay, for this very insightful episode. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.
And we will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.